Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashton. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing all of the planners I have used and loved that I have archived. And I have not kept every planner that I have tried or used because that would be a gigantic stack, but these are the ones that I have kept on hand, and I like to look back through them for my memories, but also to get inspiration about planning and what has worked for me in the past so that I can apply it to my system now. So today we're going to be flipping through these planners, not every single page, but I've marked some of my favorite spreads to show you and kind of talk about how I've used each system. I'm going to start on the bottom of this stack. Now, off and on, I have used Happy Planner, and I think I started using the Happy Planner probably back in 2016 or 2017 for the very first time. And over the years, I have used them off and on. And I ended up just keeping my favorite pages and calendars from a lot of different books, and I just archived them all in this nice binder. The Happy Planner has this kind of archive system so that you can store old planners, and then you can have the spine facing out on your bookshelf, and they actually have a tag. I don't know where mine is right now. It fell off, but there's a little tag you could use to like date, write the date or write a title for the book, so it kind of looks nice on a shelf. Aside from the fact that it looks nice on a shelf, this is kind of annoying, I'll be honest. It sort of like clips like this, and then you have to unfold it, and then the book goes this way, and the rings are really giant. It's kind of just clunky, but it is the best system I found for keeping these pages. At the front of this archive, I just have some of these pocket pages. These were made by the Happy Planner. I don't think they make these anymore. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen them in a while. I use them just to print out some of my Instagram photos. These are old photos from probably 2017, 2018, if I had to guess, maybe 2019. And I also kept some of my old postcards and sticker samplers and business cards from my business. So for the most part, when I've used the Happy Planner, it's been pretty work focused. I still have one that I'm using today just as like a notebook, not so much a planner. But because I've used it for work through the years, I like to just use these pocket pages to save some of my different business cards and things. So I started out using kind of the classic vertical Happy Planner. Just like this, I had come from an Erin Condren planner before that, so this was pretty familiar for a layout. And I really enjoyed using the sticker kits that I sold in my shop at the time to decorate these pages. And these spreads are just fun to look back at. I always love looking at these, and this is one of my all-time favorites. It's just so cute. I don't plan like this anymore, but I love looking at pages like this. So pretty. Although it is a vertical layout, and you'll see over and over, I do love a vertical layout. I do find that the 3-box setup is just not the most functional for me anymore. Just probably because, life has changed and things change, but it's just not the most functional, but I did enjoy it at the time. I also tried out using Happy Planner monthly layouts where you just have a calendar spread for the month, and then you have some sort of dashboard pages. Now this is skipping ahead to 2020. So in these planners, you just had like habit trackers and some dashboards for setting some goals or priorities for the month, and then the remainder of the pages would just be like a checklist like this. So I did date them myself, and this is really nice, and this is actually a system I'm reconsidering. Like, maybe I'll do this again in the future for work. It was helpful to just have the monthly layouts where I can document what I actually ended up doing as far as like releases or just content that I posted. And then this is just simple and functional just to kind of record what I did. For work, I don't so much like pre-plan, but I do like to have a document of what I actually did. Skipping ahead to 2021, this was a very cool planner that they came out with. I don't remember what they called this planner, but it was something like good habits or goals or something like that. And I just really liked the layout. They gave you these like 3 boxes with checklists on the side. And then the weekly spreads were a little bit different. They had a line kind of like 3/4 through the page or 2/3 through the page, and so it was just a blank box up top and then a little grid section, and then at the bottom you had place where you could track your weekly goal, and each day you could check off, you know, whether or not you achieved that goal. I enjoyed kind of drawing my own checklists. I think this is another reason why the Happy Planner vertical has not stuck with me for the long term, and that's because when I have a vertical layout, I do enjoy writing on lines, and when there are no lines, it's cute. Like, it's a good place for me to put some journaling or just lettering or stickers, but it's not the best for like that left part of my brain that's wanting like a really nice checklist to check off. I would say overall, when I do use a vertical layout, I like it to be hourly. At the least, I like it to be lined. So this kind of format just doesn't work for me in the long term, but I really do like how these look. I also had one of these little half note pages that I would tuck in. I would do this a lot at the time. I'm kind of separating my tasks by category so that I could plan out my work blocks. This kind of thing I now do on iCal and Trello. And so I have all of like my work schedule for the week pre-planned out on the computer, but back at this time I was doing it on paper still, and I just think it's cool to see. I was just trying to prioritize due dates, but like it's interesting because all of this I would definitely do in Trello now. I would not rely on paper for that, just because Trello allows me to move dates around really, really easily. The rest of this book is not so much dated planners. A lot of it is actually just note pages where I kind of like map out projects or ideas. And then briefly, I was using this for artwork as well. So I actually would just put in some, you know, blank pages, and I use this for all kinds of stuff to scan in to create repeating patterns and stickers. So these were actually all watercolor paper I had in here, and this was planning out a bullet journal design that I did. So yeah, it's kind of fun to have. I do like the ability to archive like all kinds of different stuff with discs. You know, you can use a planner, you can use note pages, or you can use any kind of blank paper, or really anything that you want. So I do really enjoy that. Moving into 2020, I was in the Hobonichi Cousin. In 2019, I think I had tried the Weeks for quite a while. I may have had a Cousin as well. If I had one, I have videos of it on my channel. I will link my planner playlist so you can see like everything I've ever used. I did not keep every single, you know, planner that I've ever tried. But 2020, of course, was a very wild year. So this was a really important planner for me to keep. And I'm really glad I have it. It's very cool to look back on. I use these pages as an index. I've done that many, many times. This is an interesting spread. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it. This was interesting because at the time I had been trying out Passion Planner printables. So they have free printables of all of their planners, and I was trying out that method. And when I was doing that, I ended up time tracking everything I was doing by a color code category. So, you know, like pink was work, orange was artwork, green was like home or financial, blue was kind of like family, and purple was like just personal. So I actually tracked like how much time I spent that week on each thing, and I just thought this was a cool spread. I will probably never do this again because it's a little tedious for me. This is like kind of the most intensive version of these weekly pages that I can do, and for most of the time that's just not practical. But back in 2020, I feel like I was home a lot and I probably just had a lot of free time. This is a spread that I really loved. I think I just highlighted work hours on this spread. I just loved how this one turned out. I thought it was really cute. So most of the spread is hourly time tracking, tasks up at the top, and then it looks like the bottom I was just using for various tasks and various things, like kind of whatever I needed. And then I always would have a to-do list over to the left and habit trackers. So skipping ahead to December, this was kind of like a little bit more of a free-flowing layout. I think I was just kind of trying new things, which tends to happen at the end of the year. I'm just kind of trying out like what different layouts, what I might want to do for the following year. So in December, I really liked these spreads. I just really like how they turned out, because they're a little bit varied, but I used some of the same stickers and colors every week, so they all are pretty cohesive. Yeah, that was the last one. But this is a good representation of what my cousins look like. You know, some weeks are really detailed and filled in. Other weeks I have a lot of blank space. Looks like this one I didn't really finish anything. And I'm okay with that, honestly. I'm okay with my weekly spreads being really varied and just whatever I need at the time. I wanted to show an example of a daily spread, a couple of them. So a lot of times I would have a to-do list over here on the left, journaling either on the right or at the bottom, and then just kind of fill in with stickers or drawings or lettering or whatever the heck I feel like. So that's what my dailies looked like back in 2020. So going into my bullet journal, this bullet journal actually spans a lot of time, and I'll show you that. So this was a spread back from the end of 2021. And then I just continued with this book for a long time. So I would bullet journal sometimes and then drop it and then pick back up, you know, after time had passed. So this was spring of 2022, another weekly spread. And this one I was really happy with how kind of free-flowing it was. I feel like with lettering the days, everything is very clear to me what happened when. But it's fun. I like the drawing. I like the colors. This one is a little neater, summer of 2022. This side it had like a gratitude spread, and then I started dividing my pages a lot like this, which I think saved a lot of space because I would just kind of go, you know, down one column onto the next with my daily log. And then going into the end of this bullet journal. This was very funny. This is one of those patterns I noticed that I did over and over. Towards the end of a year, you'll see me do a spread kind of like this, where I'm trying to figure out what my planners are going to be for the following year. And in this case, I was trying to figure out what to order for the year of 2023. And I was trying to decide between a Weeks, a Cousin, and a 5-year Techo. I didn't write in my final order, but I can tell you right now that I ended up ordering this Hobonichi Weeks, a Hobonichi Cousin, and I did not end up starting a 5-year. But it's so interesting to see this looking back, like pros, cons, what I would use each one for, things that I liked and might want to order, and then what I ended up ordering. I didn't go back and write, but I just think it's funny, and I always do this whenever it's Hobonichi season. That bullet journal I ended in 2022. Actually, I was in that journal a lot in 2022. And so that means that a lot of my 2022 cousin is blank because I was in the bullet journal. And that is totally fine with me. This planner is still really valuable and has a lot of info that, you know, I want to hang on to. So I want to show you a few spreads here. This was an example of a monthly. My monthlies always look something like this. You'll see a lot of blank squares. Kind of depends on, you know, how ambitious I am with filling everything in. I do currently in the Cousin, I'm trying to go back and fill in highlights or gratitude or what I did. Just write something on every day. I find that really helpful when I'm looking back. Going to a weekly. This one I thought was a nice example of how I used it in 2022, because I did the same thing kind of over and over when I was in this book anyway. And so I always draw a line here. That seems to be a theme. At that time, at the bottom, I was kind of writing down like a different a habit that I had, a medication, and then writing down symptoms or how I felt. And then the hourly I have kind of spaced out. I don't really have a to-do list here. I just kind of have like the main activities of the day, and then I would highlight appointments. And a couple of dailies in 2022. These I really liked. This was, I think, after I first designed a journaling kit that I put in my shop, and so I was using this throughout, I think, September and October, and I really enjoyed those for the daily pages. Here's another example of how I use my cousin, some journaling, and, you know, in this case I was drawing the layout of my closet. I just, you know, I like to kind of mind map or brainstorm projects in here. So that is the 2022 Cousin. And finally, we have my 2023 Hobonichi Weeks. It is still 2023, but I'm including this in my archive because I'm kind of done with this guy for now. So let me show you a monthly. These were pretty simple. Sometimes I just struggle with monthlies, I'll be honest. So sometimes I just like don't know what to write other than a few main events. And the weekly, you can see I got into this planner and I really enjoy it, but you can see that I'm kind of at the max on space in this planner. Not every day, you know, some days are empty, but some days I really struggle to fit everything in. So, you know, like over here, you kind of have a max of about 6 lines that you can write depending on your handwriting size. But if you're following the grid, it's about 6 bullet points over here. I would kind of write a schedule on the left. And here it looks like I had gratitude or just something good that happened that day. And then the right side I just had for various lists and habits. Another similar spread. This one I really like, love how it turned out. That's a sticker from my shop, but this is actually a printout of a photo I took of a sketchbook. I just thought it was, you know, looked nice with the floral, so I just stuck it in here. So that is kind of all of the examples I wanted to show you. So you'll notice like this is the only weeks that I have on hand right now, and I think because of that weekly spread limitation on what I can write, I just don't love horizontal, and I feel like horizontal layout planners tend to be a little disorganized for me. In the course of flipping back through my planners, what I noticed was my love affair with the Hobonichi Cousin. So let me grab my current planner. I am back in the Cousin after a little break this summer. I did go back and fill in some dates and things. You can see I have 3 of them here. I actually did have a 2019, I think, and I did have a 2021. Didn't end up keeping those. Probably they were not very full, didn't have a lot of filled out pages. But these 2 are the ones that I love to like hang on and look back at. I think it depends on the year as well, and like what's going on in my life and whether or not I had a lot of things going on that I want to look back on. Seeing these all together has just been really satisfying, and so I did purchase one for 2024. At the time that I received my order, I told myself I was not going to use it just because I was using the weeks, but after playing around with the weeks quite a bit, you know, I've just determined it's not enough space, particularly in the weekly layout. It's not enough space, but obviously the size of these books is so different, the page size and the thickness. And I've decided that I would rather go ahead and like complete my collection of Cousins with another 4th book and just continue the series. And if that means I have some blank pages in 2024, that's okay too. And I'm kind of like, I've been looking around online and getting some inspiration on how people are using the Cousin. But part of the process of figuring out how I would use it was me flipping back through these books and seeing that they really worked for me in the past. And so I think they will work for me again in the future. And it's nice to be able to take some inspiration from some of my old planners and see what worked at the time. Because I think in my current planner, I could kind of get into a rut, and especially using the monthly and weekly pages in the same way every time, I can get in a rut. And so it's nice to just like go online for inspiration or look back at different things I've tried and kind of try to change my mind about how I'm using layouts and be a little more experimental. So that is it for my all the planners I've loved before video. I hope you enjoyed watching this flip through. If you have old planners that you've saved, I would encourage you to do the same and look through them to see what kind of planning styles have worked for you in the past, and it might really help you come up with a setup for next year. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.